And you know the name Ferrari. While the car is one of the most recognized in the world, many don't know much about the man behind its creation.
Let me make cars. You stick to tractors. With those 7 words, Enzo Ferrari ignited one of the fiercest rivalries in automotive history. Because the man he had insulted was no one else but Ferruccio Lamborghini, a wealthy tractor manufacturer. Humiliated. But instead of walking away, Lamborghini did something no one expected. He went to war with Ferrari by building his own car company. Decades later, before his death, Enzo Ferrari finally spoke about the man who dared to challenge him. What did he say? And was this legendary feud ever really about cars? Let's find out. The farmer who dared challenge a legend. It was 1963. Ferruccio Lamborghini was not just a customer, but a mechanical genius who had also founded the most successful Italian tractor manufacturer, starting with nothing. His machines had a reputation for being very dependable, and farmers all over the country had confidence in his tractors. However, Lamborghini did not just love farming, he also loved racing cars. He had a Ferrari, as many rich Italians do. His pride and joy, sleek, powerful, and prestigious. But then there was a single issue that made him nuts. The clutch was faulty. The same story every few months. High costs of repairs, time waste, and growing irritation. Customers today would just complain to the dealer. Lamborghini was not the preference of the majority of buyers. He was an engineer at bottom, and he knew machines, no doubt, better than most people knew themselves. It was clear what the problem was when he looked at it. The clutch parts that Ferrari had in place were just too weak to compensate for the engine power. The fix? Better than parts, the stuff he used in his tractors. Ferruccio Lamborghini thought it would be easy. He believed Enzo Ferrari would welcome his suggestions for improving the cars. After all, he just wanted to make a great product even better. Therefore, he made one of the decisions in the history of the automotive industry. He was to drive to Maranello and present his solution to the great Enzo Ferrari personally. The insult heard around the world. What Lamborghini anticipated was a business dialogue with a successful Italian businessman. Instead, what he received was a lesson on how pride can make us blind. Ferrari heard what Lamborghini had to say, the malfunctioning clutch, the faulty engineering review, and the suggested cure. But the response of Ferrari was, "Let me make cars. You just do tractors." What Ferrari did at that time, however, was insult a customer. But it was also a fuse leading to his nightmare. The reason is that what Ferrari did not know was that he had challenged someone whom nothing had ever stopped in his life. It was the ride back from Maranello that the anger of Lamborghini solidified into something much more dangerous, and that was his determination. By the time his foot struck his home, the decision was taken. By doing this, Ferrari would show that a tractor maker could build cars in such a way that even Ferrari couldn't. Stealing the Ferrari's best secrets. Here's where the story gets really interesting. Just 2 years earlier, Ferrari had made another catastrophic mistake. 5 of his top engineers, including his chief engineer Carlo Citti and legendary designer Giotto Bizzarini, had been fired in a single day over a dispute. These weren't ordinary employees. They were the men who knew Ferrari's deepest secrets, his engineering philosophy, and his manufacturing processes. When Lamborghini approached these former Ferrari engineers with his audacious plan, it was like offering a master chef the chance to outdo the restaurant that had kicked him out. They didn't just say yes, they were thrilled. In just 4 months, something miraculous happened. This team of rejects didn't just design a car, they designed a Ferrari killer. The Lamborghini 350 GT debuted at the 1964 Turin Motor Show, and the automotive world was stunned. This wasn't some rich man's vanity project. This was a legitimate supercar that could stand toe-to-toe with anything from Maranello. But Lamborghini was just getting started. The car that broke all the rules. The next one would change the meaning of a supercar. When everyone, including Ferrari, was placing their engines in the front of the cars, a group at Lamborghini was already working on a mid-engine, something that would be seen only on Formula One race cars. It was at the Turin Motor Show in 1965 that the history of autos was made. People went silent as the covers were taken off the Lamborghini Miura. This was more than a car. It was a mobile sculpture, the future. The car's engine was in the back, behind the driver. The body was very low and sleek, and even when the car was standing still, its design made it look like it was moving incredibly fast. The Miura was not only competing with Ferrari, but it destroyed it. The car was supposed to be the second ever car to be made by Lamborghini, but it appeared more futuristic than what Ferrari had ever imagined. The automotive press went hysterical. People became hypnotized. And Enzo Ferrari? He reportedly could not speak. The man whom he once discredited as a mere tractor maker had just given the world where supercars were heading in the future. From triumph to heartbreak, the Miura succeeded, and Lamborghini was no accident. In the following decades, 764 Miuras were created by hand, one of the largest masterpieces of engineering and design. Car lovers all over the world started to appreciate that, in regard to creating his dream cars, Lamborghini was not merely competing with Ferrari, he was rewriting the history books. However, the supercar business has never been that successful without a cost. A tsunami swept through the markets of the exotic cars in 1973 with the oil crisis. Overnight, sales had dropped by 80%. Even Lamborghini, with all his engineering genius, was not able to fight economics. Heartbroken and also practical, in 1974, he sold the company bearing his name. The story did not, however, end there. The new owners realized that what they did buy was not a car company, but a mission to fulfill that innovation would overcome tradition. The confession that shook the world. But the most shocking twist was yet to come. As Enzo Ferrari aged, something began eating at him. Every time he saw a new Lamborghini, every time he read about their latest innovation, and every time someone mentioned the rivalry, he was reminded of that day in 1963. Then came the moment that shocked the automotive world. In one of his final interviews before his death in 1988, Ferrari said something no one expected. Lamborghini was not just a tractor maker, he was a brilliant engineer who understood cars better than I gave him credit for. 25 years later, the great Enzo Ferrari had finally admitted the truth. His insult hadn't just been wrong, it had been the biggest mistake of his career. The ultimate lesson in respect. According to some witnesses, when Ferrari announced his confession to Ferruccio in his wine farm in Umbria, he merely smiled and nodded. Decades later, he had now been given the credit that he deserved the whole time. This is not merely a story of two men and their injured pride. It is about the power of innovation that could come from anywhere, and the risk of overlooking a person just because they have the wrong color skin. The insult by Ferrari did not only bring him his largest rival, but also reshape the entire automobile world in the way to think about respect and rivalry. Both Ferrari and Lamborghini today construct one of the most astonishing supercars in the world. The competition, having started with 7 dismissive words, still drives the two companies to another level of performance and beauty. The question that haunts every leader: what would have happened if Ferrari gave attention instead of being offended? What if he had shown respect instead of arrogance? The truth is, we'll never know. But we do know this, that sometimes the words we say when we are angry do not only hurt others, but come back and change everything we think we knew about the world. That Lamborghini you see driving by is a powerful reminder. It exists because one man, Ferruccio Lamborghini, was refused and disrespected by Enzo Ferrari, so he decided to build a better car to prove him wrong. And the next time someone says to you, "Stick to what you know," think of the tractor company who wouldn't listen. That is how 7 words of dismissal became a legend that will not be forgotten. If you want to learn more about how the greatest failures in history led to the greatest successes, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done had Enzo Ferrari offended you in that way? Until the next time, be innovative and never listen to someone who says stick to your lane. Who knows, maybe you will just create something that changes the world.